Alright guys, I guarantee you that this video here is going to be absolutely perfect. And I will not make one mistake for the entire video. Okay, that's my guarantee to you. Let's begin. So, perfectionism wait, I made a mistake. Let me start that again. Okay. Okay, so let's be clear right off the bat. Perfectionism equals self-sabotage. The problem with most perfectionists is that we tell ourselves that our perfectionism is something that's actually helping us. We think that, oh, I just have really high standards for myself. I just want to wait until the opportunity is right because I won't allow myself to put out any work that is subpar. And what this creates is just this kind of cycle of waiting and waiting for the situation to be perfect. Let's say one place where a lot of people experience perfectionism is when guys go out and want to talk to girls, go and approach girls, let's say at a party or in public. Perfectionism comes out very, very strong in this scenario because we want to wait for the perfect opportunity to go and approach the girl. We come up with millions of excuses for why right now is not the best time to go approach that pretty girl that we want to talk to. We might tell ourselves, oh, I just ate a bunch of food, so I'm going to wait till I digest a little bit more so that I can be sharp and clear so that I can talk to the girl and perform my best. Oh, right now, I'm just not in the mood right now. That last girl, she rejected me, so now my confidence is low, so I'm gonna wait a little bit longer. Oh, I think it's getting dark right now, so she might be afraid if she might not see me coming. Oh, right now, you know what? I read online that the moon is right now, it's in Cancer. And Cancer has people kind of be very emotional, and right now I think I'm really feeling my emotions right now, so I'm gonna actually just wait until the moon moves into Sagittarius, then I'll feel a lot more upbeat, a lot more excited, then I'll finally be able to go approach that girl. See, this is literally how we talk to ourselves with our excuses. We wait until the perfect opportunity, we wait and wait and wait, and we wait so much that when the perfect opportunity finally comes, even when the moon is in Sagittarius, then you haven't been practicing. You haven't been showing up, even when it wasn't perfect. So now when the opportunity is finally right in your hands, you let it slip through your hands because you haven't been practicing, and you sabotage yourself. So perfectionism is something that I think everyone struggles with a lot in their lives. I've struggled with perfectionism a lot in my life, and now that social media allows us to share our art for free, we can publish our art, we can make music, dances, lectures, painting, whatever, we can share it with the world for free. I think a lot more people are really hitting up this blockage of perfectionism, which is why in this video I want to show you the 3 cures to perfectionism and also what really the root cause of perfectionism is and how I've struggled with it a lot in my life and how I've been able to overcome it. All right, so when I was maybe 4 years old, this story I think is very good to understand where perfectionism might come from. For me personally, when I was maybe 3 or 4 years old, I was very good at solving puzzles. My brain, for some reason, just very good at solving math equations. I think I have just good pattern recognition skills where I can solve puzzles very quickly. So whenever my parents would give me math equations or they would give me puzzles, I would be able to put them together very quickly. I remember I had these transformers that were very complicated and difficult to transform. They were for like 10-year-old kids, but I was like 4 and I would still be able to use them just because I like things with moving parts and solving puzzles. So whenever I would solve a puzzle, my parents would give me love. They would say, "Wow, good job, Adam. You're so smart. Wow, you're awesome. Come, give me a big hug," right? So whenever I would succeed in solving a puzzle, basically, or recalling a fact or just knowing something, whenever I would prove that I'm smart, I would get love and validation. And this continued to when I went to school. When I was in like grade 1, when I was 6 years old, I would always be the first one to raise my hand to answer the question because I just wanted to show off to the teacher and to my friends that I know the answer and that I'm smart, and then I deserve love and validation. So I just kind of kept doing this until one day, one of the teachers basically got really mad at me for always raising my hand, always being the first person to raise my hand and answer the question. She was saying, "Adam, stop doing that. You're being a show-off. Let the other kids answer the question. Give them a chance to shine." So this kind of fucked up my brain because for my whole life, I thought that if I show up being smart, knowing the right answer, never making a mistake, I thought that that would give me love and validation. But this one time, I knew the right answer, but I didn't get love and validation. Instead, I got in trouble. And I felt bad, actually, because like, oh wait, maybe I am being a show-off. Maybe when I am perfect, or when I'm being the golden boy, right, with the gold star on my chest, maybe that is actually taking the light away from other people. So as I grew up, this is something that kind of stayed with me my entire life, where part of me felt that if I'm perfect and I show up and everything I say is correct and I never make any mistakes and everything I do is perfect the first try, then other people will think I'm awesome. They'll think I'm smart and talented and cool, and they'll give me love and validation. That'll raise my status, make me feel good about myself. But then another part of me also felt that if I did show up as being perfect and I actually was awesome, then other people would be jealous, or they would feel bad that I was shining and then I was taking the light away from them. So this created some kind of weird cognitive dissonance in my brain, where basically, this is just an example of how perfectionism can kind of get ingrained in you from childhood. And I think a lot of people become perfectionists because they don't want to make mistakes. They don't want to be criticized, especially like me, where I had a kind of a track record of always being right and always being smart and getting the right answer, that I felt like if I were to break that record, then my whole self-image would come crumbling down, and that would be very emotionally challenging. So some examples in life where perfectionism shows up very strong, like I talked about, talking to girls. Also, whenever you're trying to release some kind of art, like writer's block, for example, when you're trying to write a book or release a song or make a dance or share any kind of art form publicly, this is when perfectionism is going to come in very, very strong. Because perfectionism is this kind of self-criticizing thought pattern where we just nitpick everything we do, especially if we're making some kind of art piece. We feel like, as artists, we feel like our art is like an extension of ourselves. So we want our art to be perfect and not have any mistakes. Because if we put out some art and it sucks, that is like a part of ourselves. So when people see our art and judge our art, that's almost like they're judging us. They're judging me. If I make a video and it sucks and everybody says they hate it, that feels like those people are not judging just my video, but they're actually judging me as a person. And that feels scary. It's like gonna get kicked out of the tribe. Like something's wrong with me. I'm gonna be exposed for sucking or for not knowing what I'm talking about. So that kind of feeling is what causes us to always want whatever we release as artists to always be perfect. One of my coaching clients, he's a singer, and he said, I told him, okay, so you've been waiting to release your first song. It's been a while now. You haven't released any songs. And I know it's difficult to make a song. You need the right software. You need a studio. You need to have a lot of things go your way. But I told him, hey, I think it would be great if you just released a song that isn't perfect, but is only 70% perfect. It's how are you going to make a perfect song on your first try? The first song you make is going to suck. We always give this advice to YouTubers. The first video you make is going to suck. But you have to put it out anyways, because there was this, a good way I can explain it is that there's this experiment in this one university where they had a photography class, and they split the class into two groups, and they told the first group to take one perfect picture, and their entire mark for the whole class will be determined by that one perfect picture. And then the second group, they said, take as many pictures as you want. Your mark will be determined by all of the pictures that you take, not by that one perfect picture. And by the end of the semester, they evaluated the pictures that were taken, and they found that the group that only had to take one perfect picture, their pictures ended up sucking, or they weren't as good as the second group who was told to take as many pictures as possible. Because the second group actually got a chance to practice with the camera to try different angles, different lenses, different distances, zooming in, different kinds of focus. And every time they took a picture, they got feedback, and they learned what works and what doesn't work. So not only did the second group end up taking more pictures, but the overall quality of their pictures was actually a lot better compared to the first group, who was kind of, I can imagine, was definitely just all in their head, like, fuck, I need to take the one perfect picture. And they probably ended up taking a total amount less pictures, and then they had less practice. They had less direct feedback, and they had less results. So the same is true for making a YouTube video or for releasing a song. You need to release a lot in the beginning, even though it sucks. And there's no way around that process. You basically need to get over the fact that, hey, not everything I make is going to be perfect. That's just how life is. And if other people are judging the video that I made or the song that I made, say, hey, your song kind of sucks, that's okay, because the next song I make is going to be a little bit better. And then the next song I make is going to be a little bit better than that. And then so on and so on and so on until your 100th song is pretty good. People are like, wow, you're a good musician. Yeah, on the first song you didn't say that, but on the 100th song you said, yeah. So there's this excuse like, oh, I need to hold up my reputation, right? If I make a song and it sucks, how am I going to get signed to a label? Or how am I going to get recruited by a scout? But you don't realize that people don't judge you on your first song. They judge you on your last song or your most recent piece of art that you put out. This perfectionism can even arise in meditation, where we're sitting in meditation and we want to meditate perfectly with no thoughts at all. And whenever a thought pops into our mind, we get mad at ourselves. Like, nope, no thoughts. Oh, fuck, that was a thought too. Oh, fuck, I'm still thinking. Oh, shit. So because we want to get enlightened, we care so much about the end result, we are overly worried and neurotic about the process. Same is true in business. If you're releasing a new course, or you're releasing a product, or you're a consultant and you want to make a sale, you don't realize that the first sales call you do is probably going to suck, and probably the second, third, and fourth one is going to suck as well. But after you practice a lot and you make a fool of yourself a lot, then over time you'll actually get nearer to perfection. But you'll never really reach perfection, because as you get better at your art, your standards increase as well. I've noticed this for myself. I feel like I can never make a perfect video, because every time I release a new video, my speaking skills get a little bit better. But also my standards for what I want to make also raise as well. So as my skills raise, the bar raises as well. So it's like you can never reach that bar, because it's always one step beyond where you're currently at, which is completely okay. That's completely normal. The trap would be to think that I have to perform at that bar every single time I show up, and that's impossible. So really, to cure perfectionism, you need to realize I'm always going to be a little bit behind my standard for myself, and that's completely normal. And I just gotta accept that fact and continue practicing until I get better and better and better and better and better. All right. So generally what causes perfectionism is that you're too focused on the end result, and you've placed the end result on a pedestal, thinking that it's the most important thing ever. So this is very prevalent in artists. So let's say you're a dancer, and that's really your best skill. That's how you express your soul through dancing. Kind of like my girlfriend. She is such an amazing dancer. She's been dancing her whole life, but she is so self-critical with herself about her dancing. And she says she's been like this ever since she was a kid. She would do competitive dance, and she would have to do performances on stage. And whenever she would go on stage, she was so nervous because she felt like she had to perform perfectly. Otherwise, the judges wouldn't give her a good score or whatever. So my girlfriend is very self-critical about her dance, and she'll make a video of herself dancing, and I'll watch it back, and I'll just have my mouth wide open, just like, wow, you're an awesome fucking dancer. And her friends tell her, everyone tells her, but to herself, when she watches it back, she doesn't really see that. Sometimes she does, but sometimes she doesn't. She's very nitpicky and self-critical. And I think the reason why this is because the cave that we are most afraid to enter is where our deepest treasure lies. So if you feel like your soul's expression is dance, that's almost like the thing you would love to succeed. If you could succeed in that one thing that is most important to you, that you feel the most confident about, that would kind of be like the best thing ever. So for me, I feel like one of my strengths is speaking and conceptualizing ideas. So I'm very, very, very self-critical with myself about my speaking and my ability to conceptualize ideas. And I'm always like trying to make sure it's perfect all the time. And I think that's because I see a lot of potential in myself to really take this to some amazing levels. But that self-criticism, that can turn into perfectionism, where you're overly self-critical and then you just end up taking no action at all. And we want to avoid that. And also, perfectionism also sometimes comes from a lack of self-esteem. because I've noticed this in myself whenever I release a course, when I released my Crystal Clear Purpose course, I dealt with a lot of perfectionism, as do I even when I release these free videos. But when I released that course, I dealt with a lot of perfectionism. I felt like every single thing needed to be perfect, otherwise I won't be able to get paid for it. Basically, no one's gonna like my course. I'm gonna put all this time and energy into a course, and no one's even gonna take it, and they're not even gonna like it. So I had to deal with a lot of perfectionism in recording the videos for the course, even in researching the course, researching how to market the course, sending out the emails, everything. I was like double checking, triple checking everything. And what finally allowed me to push through all of that, otherwise I would have just been stuck in this waiting cycle. But what allowed me to push through is just to always continually remind myself over and over again, hey, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't even have to be done. It doesn't have to be completed. I remember when I released the course, it's a 7-day course, and I only had days 1, 2, and 3 completed. And the reason why I did that is not because I'm trying to mislead my audience, but because I just needed to do days 1, 2, and 3, release the course, and then as people are taking the course, then I continue with day 4, day 5, day 6, and day 7, and now it's all completed. But the reason why I did that is because I just needed to get it out the door. I need to tell myself, hey, it needs to be shipped. It just needs to go out. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be done. And then over time, I've honed it and gone back and added things, and now it's done, basically. But it would have never gotten done unless I kind of pushed myself out the door. Like, hey, okay, just do it. Like, it's got to get done, right? So that's a great way to deal with perfectionism in business. Yeah, and this can come from a lack of self-esteem, feeling almost like I don't deserve to get recognition or validation for my art. Or even when I'm going to talk to a girl, I don't deserve to have this girl be attracted to me. Or I don't deserve to become a meditation master unless I am perfect. And you need to realize that you don't need to be perfect in order to succeed in all these areas of your life. So when I first started meditation, for example, I thought that unless I meditated perfectly, then I would never become enlightened. But then as I kept studying meditation, I started realizing, oh, all of these teachers are telling me that my natural state is already awakened. Awareness is already enlightened. And all I have to do is just to work with it and to sharpen it and to hone it. And that really took a huge load off of my shoulders, because now I wasn't worrying about getting enlightened. Now I told myself, okay, I'm already enlightened. I'm fine. I'm already God. I'm already awakened. I already have Buddha mind. All I have to do is just reconnect to it. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Everything that arises is Buddha mind. So even if I have a distracting thought about sex, or if I'm falling asleep in my meditation, at the end of the day, that doesn't really matter, because the awareness, the witness is always present. And obviously at the beginning, you need to learn how to work with not always being stuck in thoughts, or not always falling asleep. You know, it's better to be awake and to actually have focus and not be lost in thoughts. But it was good for me just to kind of accept myself as I am, realizing I don't have to be perfect in order to achieve enlightenment. Same with talking to girls, right? A lot of guys, when before they go talk to a girl, they're like, oh, how's my hair? Is my hair good? Oh, let me fix my clothes. Let me make sure everything's perfect. Whereas what I realize is that it doesn't fucking matter at all. It literally doesn't matter. Your hair could be a mess. Sometimes when I was out dating, I would intentionally wear like pajamas out to the club. I'd wear like flashy, weird clothes. My hair would be a mess. I'd have this long, tangly beard. And I found I actually would be able to get a lot of success when I was not really caring about how I present myself. Now, yeah, sometimes it might get you better results if you wear some clean clothes or whatever. You want to be like smelling like onions or like garlic. But I realized that, hey, when you go talk to a girl, it doesn't have to be the most perfect thing on earth. All you're doing is you're just meeting a new person. That's all that's happening. Like, it's really not a big deal. You just say, hi, hello, what's your name? Oh, I thought you were cute. I wanted to talk to you, right? It's like, let's just dance to the music. Like, it's not a huge deal, right? So unless you think that you don't deserve this girl, then you feel like everything needs to be perfect. But if I feel like, oh, I already deserve this girl because I feel good about myself, I've been on my shit, I've been reading books, I've been meditating, I've been owning and loving myself, and that self-love isn't dependent on how my hair looks or how I even feel, how my emotions are. I just always love myself all the time, regardless of what's happening. Then that increases my self-esteem and my confidence, and that also increases my sense of deserving. Where when I talk to a pretty girl, I just feel like I deserve love from pretty girls and from guys as well, and from my mom and my dad and from God and from the whole universe. I just deserve love just because I'm me and I exist. And then from that place, you don't need to be perfect. Because even if you're imperfect, even if you make a fool of yourself or whatever, it literally doesn't matter. Because then you can start to see the imperfections. You can start to see the perfection in imperfection. So what are the cures for perfectionism? The first cure I found for myself is simply just showing up. And I've noticed that a lot of the most successful people that I've been studying through personal development or whatever, a lot of the most successful people, they're not excellent creators. A lot of the most inspiring creators of all time, they're not inspiring because of how perfect their work is. They're inspiring because of how consistently they were able to show up over a long period of time. So a lot of the time, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to show up. And this is something actually that holds a lot of people back from having good habits. When we first start a meditation practice, for example, we tell ourselves that we need to execute it perfectly every single day. We can't miss a day. And we need to do minimum 30 minutes every single day. If we do less than 30 minutes, then we're going to feel bad. There's too much pressure. Showing up is just about, hey, as long as you just sit your ass on the cushion, even if it's just for 5 minutes, but you just sit your ass on the cushion, hey, you showed up. You're here. At least you're on the cushion. You're sitting. It's the same with going to the gym. A lot of times we end up self-sabotaging ourselves in our gym habit, because on our way to the gym, as we're, let's say, driving or biking to the gym, we tell ourselves, oh, I have to do this 2-hour long workout. Oh, there's so much effort needs to go into that. So you're psyching yourself out of going to the gym because it's like this whole ordeal. Whereas what I notice for myself is when I tell myself that I have to go to the gym and I have to do a long 2-hour workout, then I don't want to go. I just stay in bed. Like it's too scary. It's too like, wow, it's a lot of fucking effort. I'm tired right now. I don't want to go work out for 2 hours. But what I found works amazingly is telling myself, hey, I actually don't need to go work out for 2 hours. All I have to do is just put my workout clothes on and leave my house. That's all I have to do. I don't have to go to the gym. I don't have to work out for 2 hours. All I have to do is just put my workout clothes on and leave my house. And just move in the direction of the gym. And I find right when I leave my house with my workout clothes on and I start biking to the gym that's near my house, that's all I need to do. And then when I show up at the gym, I don't tell myself, oh, I need to do a 2-hour workout. All I tell myself is, hey, I'm going to go do 1 set of pull-ups or of bench press or whatever. So if you're being a perfectionist, you're always focused on the end result. And there's too much importance. It's like the most important thing ever. It doesn't have to be the most important thing ever. You could just show up to the gym. Oh, it's not a big deal. Hey, I'm going to the gym. If I get tired halfway through my workout, okay, fuck, I don't want to be here anymore. Okay, I'm going to leave. Like, you don't have to stay an extra 2 hours and push yourself to the point where you start to hate it and you start to resent going to the gym. So some days I go and I just naturally just want to stay for like an hour and a half just because it just feels so good. But other days, like yesterday, when I went to the gym, I did a few exercises and I was like, damn, I'm like really tired today. I'm here. I'm still doing the workouts. I'm like really giving it my best. But like, it's just something like I think I need to just kind of slow down and come back tomorrow and try again. So that's what I did. I only stayed for like 45 minutes yesterday. And the point is, all I had to do is just show up. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent about actually being here. The same with if you're making a song or you're making videos or you're even just going to talk to a girl, right? It doesn't have to be a perfect interaction. Just the fact that you're already there talking to her, if you can keep that up consistently, that's gonna give you some awesome results. So don't tell yourself, oh, I need to get this girl attracted to me. Just tell yourself, hey, all I have to do is just go say hi to this person. It's not a huge deal. So showing up is big. I recommend you use the 2-minute rule. I got this from Atomic Habits, where instead of telling yourself that I need to meditate for 30 minutes, tell yourself all I need to do is sit on the cushion and meditate for 2 minutes. That's it. Because he said it's easier to continue doing a habit that you've already started than it is to start doing a habit. So by telling yourself, hey, I'm just going to do 2 minutes of meditation, you sit down for 2 minutes, and then 2 minutes later, you can choose whether you want to continue or not. So you could just keep sitting there. That's not that hard, considering you're already sitting there. All you have to do is just keep sitting there. Or you can, if you're really done, if you really don't want to meditate anymore after 2 minutes, that's okay. You can actually just get up and go do something else. Same with the gym. You can show up, tell yourself, I'm only going to do 1 set of bicep curls. That's it. You go grab a weight and do some bicep curls, and after, tell yourself, okay, do I want to leave now? Right? If you're already at the gym, you already did a set of bicep curls, do you want to continue or do you want to leave? You can leave if you want, that's fine, but it's actually easier to just continue. Right? So it's crazy. It's called the 2-minute rule. It's very powerful. If you're struggling with like your bad habits or you're struggling with showing up consistently, staying consistent, just tell yourself, I'm just going to do it for 2 minutes. And then you might find yourself actually wanting to continue after you start the process. All right. So the second way to cure perfectionism is to fail on purpose. This is a great way to desensitize yourself to failure. Because in our culture, sometimes we have this dichotomy where failure is on one side and it's bad, and then success is on the other side and that's good. Right? Like in school, you either pass the test or you failed the test. If you're playing soccer, you either win and you succeed or you lose and you fail. But life is not really like that, because even in soccer, if you lost the game, you still learned a lot. So you actually learned through failure, and that is its own kind of success. So like I said, when I would go to the club, I'd wear like pajamas, and I would intentionally just do stupid stuff. Like, not like that's rude, but I would just like embarrass myself on purpose. I would like sing Bee Gees and dance and do like crazy dance moves, and my hair's all messy. I would purposely fail or make a fool of myself so that I would actually just desensitize myself to failing, so that I kind of don't worry about failing anymore. It's just like life. There's no such thing as succeeding or failing. There's just life that's being lived. And whatever's happening now is good. Whether people are laughing at me or whether they're laughing with me, it doesn't really matter, because I've practiced failing. I've actually desensitized myself to failing to the point where I like failing. Now it's kind of fun. Sometimes I just fail on purpose just because I get some kind of enjoyment out of it. All right, and the last cure for perfectionism is to appreciate imperfection. So we need to start realizing that reality actually is perfect even with all of the imperfections. So imagine you walk into a forest and there's dead trees on the floor. There's maybe like a rotting dead corpse of a bird that was eaten by a coyote or whatever. There's decomposing logs. There's mushrooms growing out of the floor. See, someone might think, wow, this forest is very imperfect. But when we use the forest example, we start to see, really, okay, wait, what's the difference between perfection and imperfection? Where is that boundary created? Because you wouldn't really call nature imperfect. Normally, when we go into a forest, we think just nature is just perfect. Everything is happening exactly as it's intended to. The trees are falling, they're being decomposed by the mushrooms, and then that creates a home for the insects, and then the birds eat the insects, and then they make nests in the trees, and just like this beautiful cycle. It's all interconnected. We say, wow, that's so perfect. But imperfection starts to arise when you're judging and criticizing reality, and you think that you know how reality should be. And you're not really accepting the present moment as it is, but you want to change it for some selfish reason. So even if I'm talking in public and I make a fool of myself, then I have two options in that scenario. Let's say I'm giving a speech to 100 people. I'm giving a dinner speech, whatever, at a wedding. I'm giving a wedding speech. And maybe I make a fool of myself. I say something dumb. I trip over my words. I forget my lines or whatever I wanted to say. I have two choices in that situation. Choice number one is I could judge myself. I could criticize myself. I could get all worried that I failed. My speech wasn't perfect. That's option number one. That's what mostly we do. Or option number two is I could see the perfection in the imperfection. Maybe the reason why you forgot your lines is because in that specific scenario, you were meant to give a speech from the heart that wasn't memorized and written down on the paper, but you're actually supposed to give some kind of spontaneous speech. And maybe if you take option number 2 and you see the perfection in the imperfection, then you might say, okay, damn, I forgot my lines, but it's okay, I'll just wing it. And then you start speaking from your heart, and then that actually ends up being a lot better than it would have otherwise been. Right? In a lot of masterpieces, like art pieces, in a lot of cases, they're not perfect. There's still mistakes, like the Mona Lisa. I wouldn't say it's a perfect piece of art. But sometimes the imperfections actually sometimes add to the overall perfection of the art piece. Like an example for me is the video game Dark Souls. I think that game is a masterpiece, but there's no such thing as a perfect video game. Dark Souls is so cool because of all of its imperfections. It has all these glitches. Sometimes your character just like falls off the ledge for no reason. Sometimes you get stuck in a wall. Sometimes the game just glitches and you just die, and it's frustrating and it sucks. Sometimes the graphics are just kind of low resolution, low quality, and you could see that as an imperfection, or you could see that as, oh, this imperfection, the low quality resolution, actually adds a kind of eeriness to the atmosphere. Or me glitching off and falling off the ledge, that kind of just adds to the difficulty of the game, and it makes it more of a challenge. So it really just depends on how you want to phrase perfection and imperfection. When you have this ideal in your mind of how your art should be, or how your interaction with the girl should be, or how your meditation should be, and you're attached to this result, this imaginary idea you have in your head, and then you realize, oh, reality isn't going to fit into this imaginary idea because that idea is imaginary. It's not reality, right? So when I was planning this video, I didn't really know how it was going to go. I didn't know that I was going to be talking about what I'm talking about right now. If I was overly focused on, let's say, sticking to my notes that I have in the corner here, then I wouldn't be allowing the natural flow of what I want to say to just flow out of me in the moment. All right, so this video is getting a little bit long. This was how to deal with perfectionism. So remember that perfectionism is just self-sabotage. You're not helping yourself by being a perfectionist. Really, you're just preventing yourself from taking action. You're just waiting until the moon sign changes, until the constellations are aligned perfectly so that you can finally take action. That is not helping you at all. And it's actually better for you to just put something out that's half-baked, that's imperfect, especially at the beginning. If you're starting this process of maybe releasing content on social media or making blog posts or making art of any kind, even if you're talking to girls or meditating or making business calls or whatever, it's actually in the beginning better to just start doing it, start showing up, just do the thing and fail on purpose, right? And then you'll actually be able to appreciate the imperfection. You'll be able to learn from it. And then as your skills raise, remember your bar is always going to raise as well. And you're never going to catch the bar, but you're still going to continue evolving and growing as a person. All right, instead of being stagnant and stuck and self-criticizing and overthinking all the time and self-judging yourself, instead you can just take action, not worry about the fact that it has to be perfect, and you'll actually achieve your results a lot quicker in your life. So I found for me, as a last little thing to leave you off with, I found that a lot of people, so I watched this YouTuber, his name's Aaron Doughty, and he basically released a video every single day for 3 years. And a lot of people really like that about him, because that's something that's very difficult to do, to release a YouTube video every single day. That takes a lot of work, a lot of energy, a lot of commitment. And going back, you can watch his videos, you can see they're not perfect. They're just like him talking to the camera. The thumbnails aren't perfect. The way he's talking isn't perfect, but he just showed up a lot, very consistently for a very long time. And that allowed him to succeed. And he would always say in his videos over and over again, he would always say, all I'm doing, guys, is I'm just giving myself permission to be who I want to be. So if you want to be a YouTuber, for example, you just have to give yourself permission to be a YouTuber, even if you're not a perfect YouTuber. You just have to realize, hey, I can be a YouTuber even if I suck at making videos. Or hey, I could be enlightened when I'm meditating, even if I'm not doing the practice perfectly. Or hey, I could have success talking to this girl, even if I trip over my words and I blurt out some nonsense and I make a fool of myself and I'm all nervous and weird. I could still have success talking to that girl, because I just give myself permission and realize that, hey, I deserve to be successful, even if the stars aren't aligned, even if my life isn't perfect, I can still be successful. All right, so that's all I got to say here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to learn how to become an amazing meditator, I find that when you're always focused on the end result, what's happening is that your mind is always in the future and you're not able to just accept what is present. That's one of the causes of perfectionism and self-sabotage. I find that one of the best ways to deal with that is to learn how to meditate and to do it properly, to have mindfulness and awareness. And I've created a free training that shows you how to do Vipassana meditation, which is one of the most powerful forms of meditation for raising your mindfulness, bringing your mind to the present so that it's not always going off in the future into patterns of self-criticism and worry, but just staying present and here and accepting what is. So if you want to get that training, you can click the first link in the description. Stay tuned because I got more videos on the way, and I'll see you in the next one.